We're gonna launch today. Well, not today. We're gonna hang in the slings today and finish up the work on the rudder. And then tomorrow morning sometime we'll be launching. It's gonna be awesome.
Feels like I'm back in Newfoundland. There's so much fog this morning. Actually, on the St. John's River, it's been super foggy for the last couple of days. Then it clears out a little bit or it rains. And tomorrow's gonna be foggy again.
With having only one night in the slings, I got started early, cleaning up the bottom of our keel. Fortunately, they weren't launching anyone today, which meant we could hang in the afternoon too.
And we have Lee, the professional propeller shiner. Actually, that's his propeller. Thank you so much.
Our incredible employee without benefits and without a wage.
So, what's the recipe?
Silica powder, epoxy resin, and fiberglass strands. Making some kitty hair or just glass-filled resin. That doesn't make sense either. Anyway, we're just making some thickened epoxy with strands of glass in it.
Cute little bug inspecting our hull.
It's gonna be pretty messy. I'm gonna need the brush too.
Yeah. Experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be quite thick enough, but we're making it work. I think I'm gonna just break down and use my fingers here.
Looks like cotton candy.
Playing what's not.
Yeah. Crazy how a bit of elbow grease turned the used prop into a new looking one. Thank you so much, Lee.
Hoping this is gonna work. This is some marine tech. It's supposed to be good in wet conditions. I've never used this stuff before, but we have a bit of a hole here that still didn't get watertight. So I'm gonna try to spread this out and hopefully not sand through the seal that I make with it.
Change of idea.
Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna work either, but we're gonna try it.
Looking good.
Coming along, coming along. After letting the fiberglass cure, it was time to apply some Total Boat fairing compound to smooth it all out.
So Corey's touching up the pads. It is almost 10 o'clock at night. And there is fog. Like really thick fog.
Really not the best circumstances to be doing this, but we don't have a choice.
Actually, I even built a little wall so that the keel wouldn't get all soaked. Well, today is the day, February 11th, 2021. And it's crazy foggy once again. So we're gonna launch and make sure that there isn't any leak. And then we're just gonna stay at the pier for tonight. And hopefully I'll get to clean up a little bit more of the boat because I really wanted to do some provisioning. But right now there's not that much space to put bags. We'll see. Oh, and we really gotta clean the deck.
night, but we made it through, and now we're launching.
That looks so much better. Corey was up late trying to finish the last coat of bottom paint. And she's ready? Woo!
Well, that's good, yeah. Engine started. That was one thing, well, I mean, it should. After all the work we put into it, I wouldn't expect anything different, but it's good that it started. All right, our depth sounder is plugged in. Air temperature is 67.8, 8.3 feet. Water is 60.7. Cool, it works. Oh.
Well, I'm gonna have to try to clean up this disaster. It's been really wet and it's quite muddy in the workyard, so the boat is a mess. But we keep dragging stuff in, so I didn't bother. But now that we are at dock, I'm gonna hose it off. Time to enjoy our sunny day and finally give a proper scrub to the deck. A few months of dry storage in a humid environment, tons of sanding, and a wet and muddy winter made for a disaster. In the aft corner we have the electrician.
Just running some new gauge wire up to our breakers here so that we can charge our new lithium bank, which is wired over there now. So before I had all the wires for the two banks wired separately on two different breakers set to this box here where all our batteries are, but now I have to run a wire a little further.
Well, it turns out the compressor for the fridge works, but the fan does not want to start, so the compressor just keeps turning off because it gets too hot.
The fan normally runs right from the beginning, but now I was just checking to see if it was the relay, but the relay here is getting 13 or the proper voltage from the little input where the fan gets hooked up, and I checked the negative and it seems like it's hooked up fine as well. But really we're gonna have to cut it out and see if I hook up a separate voltage here, if that will help. If not, then, well, I mean, I'm almost 100% sure now that it's the fan that's the problem. So we might need a replacement fan, which shouldn't be too bad because, I mean, it's just a 12-volt fan. So as long as we get one 12-volt fan that's around the same size, we should be able to replace it, I hope. Because it looks like there's a radiator in the backside. It might be a bit tricky to get at, but we'll do what we can.
Well, it's madness at Costco on Saturday, and I'm trying to provision for the Bahamas. Yeah.
Stocked up.
Yeah, still need a few more things, but we're getting close. Now the real challenge begins. Trying to put away over 3 months worth of non-perishable food in our small 33-foot sailboat. It's actually impressive all the corners you can store things in. Well, you know, the infamous anchor locker, which if you've seen a couple of our old episodes, we've had this thing full of water, but now we sealed it up. Here's our brand new anchor locker. Corey ended up slapping a layer of Interprotect on it yesterday night because he had some extra. And it's been pouring rain, we hosed it off, and no water is coming in. So through that little hole over there, I'm shoving some toilet paper. Finally done. It only took the whole afternoon to actually clean this 33-foot boat, and it's sunset. I'm hungry and tired, but there's still the inside to do also. Welcome aboard.
Flying the drone has multiple advantages. This is when we realized that our VHF antenna was gone from the top of our mast. Good thing we caught it prior to leaving.
How was the first night on the water?
Oh, it was really peaceful. I just slept like a baby, just really slightly rocking, and it was really nice. Nice to be back on the boat. It's so awesome.
Despite the mess. Getting ready to shove off.
Yeah, gonna untie the lines for the first time this year, 2021.
It was nice having the one complimentary night at the pier after our launch, just so that we had access to water to clean off the boat and go do some crazy provisioning, so that we didn't have to carry everything back and forth with the little dinghy. Scubby would not have liked all of this and might have gotten a lot of it wet. Now time to go grab a mooring, still at the same marina. It's only $10 a night, so we're gonna go for a couple of days, make sure everything's good, and go see my sisters, and then take off after.
So exciting, we're moving. The prop's working, the engine's working. This is awesome.
The depth sounder. And this is working. Remember it being quite shallow when we came in? Actually no, that's the section we lost our depth sounder when we came in.
It seems like the new prop and the nice clean bottom is giving us nice speed right now. We're going 5.5 knots roughly at 2,500 RPM. That wasn't what we used to get. We used to have to push it a little more. But anyway, we'll get more extensive testing throughout our time actually cruising. I just wanted to see what we get up to here. So we're just trying to figure out how we're gonna mount this and secure this battery here. So obviously we still need access to our bilge here. This is our bilge cover. So I raised up the battery a little bit and we were able to remove the bilge cover just fine with it like that. And now it's a little more level because it's higher at this end. I figure I can just place this in behind here underneath that little ledge. Anyway, I already checked, it fits back there, so that's where I think I'm gonna put it. So now I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna support it. So I think we're gonna do something like this where I'll have the beam under here, screwed one spot to the floor here, and ideally one spot over here so I don't make too many holes in our floor. And then this will go, once I cut it to size, something like that. And I'll have to put a spacer under here, same as I did over here, and I'll screw it to the side of the fiberglass here. And then we'll run a strap in underneath and around the battery, and it should be nice and secured. You can turn on your power, and we should have inverter. There we go, so we can use the vacuum to clean up all this.
That'd be lovely.
And then we'll finalize the lid. So I'm gonna have the shunt here coming out the side of the lid like that, and my positive is gonna be over here. So I'd like to either tape that in there or cut a little slot here so it sits there nicely. And I got this rubber here to protect this one positive that's under here because the negative is here, so we don't want to short the positive against the negative on the one cell. So we're gonna make sure that that's secured in there with some tape or something, and then the lid will go on like that. We're running our solar cables here because before they used to be ran through this mess that used to be a electrical outlet, and we sealed that up. It's not the prettiest, we got to clean it up still, but we sealed it up, and now we're going to use these little grommets here, one for each cable, so we have a clean seal. And I'm thinking of putting them over here. These little things are going to be so much better than just shoving butyl in the hole and hoping it seals. Basically, it's got this little grommet that's tapered, and so is the inside of this. So you slide that up against it, and then this little bolt goes down and screws down on the grommet and tightens it up and pushes the grommet closer and closer to the wire on the inside, making for a really good seal.
We're running the cables inside. We're taking advantage of the pause in the rain because it's like raining every single day. And it's kind of cold too. I feel like I'm in Canada. Like, kind of a fall day, you know? Just that chilliness.
Got my little sling here holding me up. Super stoked getting these solar out of the way. We're gonna have more power. And more space. So as you can see under here, we get some weather stripping taped and double-sided tape on the back, just kind of giving it a little bit of a buffer between the aluminum, because I noticed the aluminum against the aluminum kind of makes some oxidization there, and this will kind of give it a little bit more less slip. It won't slip as much, and we're just tying them with tie wraps all the way along, and we're also bolting them together under here. So far we've been pretty stoked with these HQST solar panels. They've been really doing the trick. A lot better than our semi-flexibles. Well, I mean, we'll see what they're outputting now, but they were outputting pretty much the full 15 amps that they should be putting out, and then we were getting a little bit more, less than 5 amps from our other 400 watts. So, you know, those are crap. These are much better. I'm never going back to semi-flexibles again. And for the cost, HQST or, you know, any of those brands that are on the cheaper side are much more worth it. Solar is just getting so cheap now that it doesn't make sense to spend a ton on it, because you buy them for a little bit. These have like, I think a 10 or 15 year warranty on them. The semi-flexibles had a year warranty, and of course they died right after the year, basically. 3 times the cost for something that just doesn't last. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. I am all about even though they don't look as good normally, it's hard to mount them. I love the rigid panels as far as production. Putting a little dielectric grease to prevent corrosion in the connections and covering the panels with a blanket before hooking them up to the charge controller. Just installing the software to be able to program the MPPT, because it's currently set up for sealed lead acid or AGMs, and it's kind of okay. It stops at 14.4 volts or whatever, which is good for a lithium, but the problem is it's designed to taper down the current as it gets closer to that voltage, which we don't really want for lithium. We want it to taper off a lot closer to the top. So basically what's happening is the charge controller thinks that the batteries are getting really close to charged, and it's putting in a lot less current. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to get inside the controller with a little plug here, a little attachment, and try to program it.